Hello, welcome to the crochet corner at Beezy Art. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet this poppy. You will need to choose a hook according to the size of yarn that you choose. I've used a 3mm hook to work with some cotton yarn that was left over from previous projects. You don't need a huge amount of yarn to make the poppy, so leftovers will do. We're going to begin today making a magic circle. If you've never made one before, you will find that there are tutorials on YouTube showing you how to make the magic circle. You place the yarn over 3 fingers like this. Take a hook underneath one thread, pull through the thread, hook it through the top thread, twist your hook and pull through the loop on top of your fingers. Grab the thread at the hook, tighten the longer yarn, take the shorter end, push a finger through the loop and then pull on the short end and tighten until the loop closes on your fingertip. Pull the loop off your fingertip, and this is the magic circle that we will be working our stitches into. So tighten up your yarns, and we're going to work into this circle. We're going to create 8 single crochets. So place your hook through the circle, grab the yarn, pull through, and then you're going to pull that yarn through the 2 loops that are on your hook. That is your first single crochet. So place your hook through the circle, grab the yarn, pull through the loop. You've got 2 loops on your hook, and pull the yarn through those 2 loops. That's your second single crochet. You will need to continue working into this circle until you have created 8 single crochets. And I do apologise if you can hear my 2 girls snoring away next to me. It's not me, heavy breathing. When you finish your 8 single crochets, it's always a good idea to recount your stitches and just make sure that you have in fact got 8 stitches. When you're certain that you have, we're going to place your hook through the first stitch, and we're going to do a slip stitch. So hook through the first stitch, grab the yarn, pull through the loops of the first stitch and pull that yarn through the loop of your last stitch. We're then going to take the shorter end of the yarn and pull, supporting the work on the hook, but pull that shorter yarn as tight as you can and it will close the center of the circle. Like this. So you now have a nice closed circle. To work the second row, we are going to do slip stitches into each of the 8 stitches that we've created. So before we work into the first stitch, we're going to take a small piece of yarn thread which will mark our first stitch. So place your hook through both loops of the first stitch, pull through and then pull through the loop on your hook. So that's created a slip stitch into the first stitch. Do the same again into the second stitch. So again we're putting our hook through both loops of a stitch, grabbing the yarn, pulling through and then pulling through the loop on our hook, and we're going to continue this all the way around until we've completed the 8 stitches on our magic circle. Remove your thread marker, and then we're going to cut the yarn so on this circle you can see the slip stitches are visible on the front of the circle and your original stitches are visible behind, and it's into these rear stitches that we're going to be working our petal. So you need to get your hook through the first loop of the first stitch, and now we're going to introduce the red yarn for the petals. So you've put your hook through both stitches, put your red yarn onto the tip of the hook and pull that through both loops. I like to organise my yarns so that they're held out of the way whilst I'm working. Hold your work, tighten up all the yarns so everything's tight and secure on your hook. And now on this first stitch of the first petal we're going to chain 4. And when we've chained 4 we're now going to create a treble crochet. So to do this you wrap the yarn twice around the hook into the same stitch as your chain 4, place your hook, pull the yarn through and through 2 loops on your hook, grab the yarn and pull through 2 more loops, and grab the yarn and pull through the last 2 loops on your hook. That creates a treble crochet. We are then going to create another treble crochet in the same stitch. So again, wind twice around your hook, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops and pull through 2 loops. So the first part of the petal we've done 4 chains and created 3 treble crochets all into the first stitch. We're then going to do another treble crochet into the next stitch, which is the second stitch of your circle. So wrap the yarn twice around your hook, pull through, pull the yarn through 2 loops, pull the yarn through 2 loops, pull the yarn through 2 loops, and repeat until you've got 3 treble crochets in this second stitch. And then we're going to make our third treble crochet, and then to finish this petal we're going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and then into the same stitch we're going to slip stitch. So that's pull the yarn through and pull the yarn through both loops. And there we've completed our first petal into the first 2 stitches of our circle. Now you need to pull this loop a little loose, and then you're going to find the next stitch, and what you're going to do is put your hook through the stitch, place the loop onto the hook and pull through from the back of that stitch. And the reason we're going to do this is it gives the petals a nice layered effect, so that one petal slightly sits in front of the other. So again, begin the second petal by chaining 4, 2, 3, 4, treble crochet into the same stitch, and we're going to continue until we've done 3 treble crochets into the same stitch. And to complete, we then do a treble crochet into the next stitch, which will be stitch 4. So twice around the hook into the same stitch, pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, yarn through 2 more loops on the hook, and yarn through 2 more loops. And this is our next treble crochet. And now we're going to chain 4 to finish the petal. Again, slip stitch back into the same stitch, pull your yarn through and slip stitch. And again, loosen the loop, find the next stitch and put your hook through. I'm just counting back just to check I'm going through the correct stitch. So place your hook into the next stitch, loop your yarn over and pull the yarn through from the back of the stitch. Again, chain 4, and then you're going to repeat the pattern all the way through to the end of the 4th petal, and I've obviously speeded up to take us through, so I will meet you when you get to the end of petal 4. So we're chaining the last 4 stitches on petal 4, and again you finish this by slip stitching into the same stitch. So pull your yarn through, slip stitch through both loops, and then we're going to turn our work, and you're going to look for the bottom stitch of the 2nd row of your 1st petal. So remove the hook from the loop, insert the hook through the stitch, grab your loop and pull through that stitch, and then from your working yarn pull the yarn through the loop, and then we're going to cut that yarn. Make sure you've got enough room for sewing and finishing your ends. Pull the yarn through and tighten. So we've now finished making our poppy. You'll need to retighten the circle by pulling those ends if the middle of your circle has opened up whilst you've been working, which sometimes it does. When you're satisfied that you've made your hole as small as it can go, you can then start tying your ends. So I've tied the 2 black yarns together, and now I'm going to tie the 2 red yarn ends together. I like to tease and pull the petals into shape. So that they sit nicely. You might need to use a little bit of pressure and tease them to get them into a nice taut poppy shape. And now we need to sew the ends of the yarn into the back of the poppy, and it's a good idea to sew these ends in so that we've actually got a nice base for sewing the safety pin into the back of the poppy. Again, do the same with the ends of the red yarn. Carefully weave into the back of the poppy and then snip off your ends. And then find a small safety pin, and using the black yarn you need to stitch the safety pin onto the back of your poppy. You need to do a good half a dozen loops over to secure your safety pin. And then finally tie off your ends and cut them. Close your safety pin, a little bit more adjusting, and there you have some fabulous poppies ready to wear. And thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed crocheting the poppy. Please support my channel by liking and sharing, and please feel free to subscribe to follow. Any comments and feedback that you have would be greatly appreciated.